Hello and welcome to Dateline New Haven. I'm your host, Paul Bass, inviting you to look behind the headlines on the stories that make our community tick. Well, Connecticut's newish state troubadour, Charlie Widmer, who's a familiar face on this radio program, he's been making our state tick all the way across the pond. Charlie's back from a 10-day trip to Germany in his role as state troubadour with his bluegrass band On the Trail. We're going to hear about his trip to Germany and what he's up to as the troubadour here in this hour. Welcome back, Charlie. So great to see you.
Paul, so happy to be back. Thanks for having me.
So you were an ambassador.
Yeah. Now it's
you were our ambassador to Germany.
Yeah. Now we have another title, one that as this life of this journey of life continues to evolve, is something I never would have imagined. But yeah, now I am a cultural ambassador. That's the title that we had and the role we were serving.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
So what were you doing over in Germany? What was the gig?
We were brought over to do a cultural envoy, which, again, a lot of this terminology is still new to me, things that I was not familiar with. I didn't realize that America had such an extensive program of sharing our cultures and our basically different forms of art with the world. So we were brought over to be kind of maybe people's first experience with something like bluegrass. And so so you were on a bluegrass mission. Yeah, absolutely. This was a chance to share an art form that as I've said many times before, is still fresh to me in a lot of ways, and it was such a great opportunity to connect with students, do workshops, to do concerts, to do even we performed at the Harley Days Festival, which is the biggest motorcycle festival in all of Europe. And so to be...
and were you drowned out by the engines?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for sure. That happened many times. People went by revving it up. I mean, it's Harley, So it was a really big honor, but also super cool to see, like, especially when we're interacting with kids, like you ask them questions about things that are normal to us. Like, you guys know country music, right? And they all shake their heads, no. And then you say, well, you know the blues, right? And they're like, no. And they really had...
and were you speaking German?
Well, that was the fun for me, is that, I've over the last 8 years, I've been working really hard with Duolingo, the app. And I'm at the point where I'm not fluent, but I was able to talk to audiences in German and have them respond, or, even crack jokes in German. Or the biggest compliment I got by far from my German was I would speak in German to someone and they would say, well, where are you from? And I'd say, oh, I was born in Switzerland. And then they'd say, well, how long did you live there? Until I was 5. And then they would be shocked and say, why is your German so good? And that's because of the app.
What got you interested in German to go do it on Duolingo?
Well, when I started doing all the stuff back and forth in Switzerland, when I had those opportunities, it just was really important to me that, I just think it's important that you try and connect as much as you can with another person's culture, right? And if I'm going to try and do the type of work that I was doing in Switzerland, it was important to me that I showed, especially to the Swiss people, that I'm not just saying I'm Swiss, I'm working on really engaging on the level of just understanding our language.
So, Charlie, who invited you? How do you get in this program? You said it was a federal government program. You're going as the Connecticut State Troubadour.
Yeah.
You have a state gig, State Troubadour.
Yeah.
How were you sent as an ambassador?
Yeah, this was an incredible, the story's so weird. They kept asking us too over there, like, how did you get connected into this program? And, the story really starts with us opening for a group called the Henhouse Prowlers at Fairfield Theater Company last February. And we took this gig, no clue, who we were opening for, other than, quick Google, oh, they're a bluegrass band, we've heard some of their music, cool, this is going to be fun. And it turns out these guys almost mirror our story identically, right? They're just they've been a band for 20 years instead of us being a band for 7 years. They came to bluegrass in many different ways. They weren't originally bluegrassers. And then we immediately connected on a lot of values things, but then we watched their set. And now, to date, I just saw them put up a post today. They've been doing this program since, I want to say, 2011.
And what is the program?
The program is these cultural envoys are through a nonprofit called Meridian. So it's this nonprofit / the U.S. State Department. It's like
so State Department contracts at Meridian.
Yeah.
So you were officially a U.S. State Department representative.
Yes. Yeah.
Did it have anything to do with being state troubadour?
No. That was just almost a bonus. Like they didn't even. I don't even think they knew. I would mention it in a meeting, and they'd go, "Oh my goodness." well, we got to make sure we mention that.
So this is the On the Trail bluegrass band you have. We've had you guys on. So the bluegrass band got connected through the group you had opened to.
Yeah.
And you became official State Department U.S. envoy for bluegrass movies.
Yeah, and it was really that, again, even as the way you're saying it, like, for us, it kept feeling like, okay, we're communicating with this group of people. All right. And yeah, we knew there was some form of State Department stuff in it. But I think until like the last meeting and until we got there, then we fully understood, oh, this is a federal thing. Like, this is a high level, like the security.
And did they have to like vet you and everything?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. Which again, like we didn't know we were being vetted. You know what I mean?
Did they check like your third grade teacher?
Yeah, I would imagine. Which Mrs. McDonald, was that what it was? She would not have given a glowing review. No chance.
What did you do to Miss McDonald?
Yeah, talk too much in class. You know what I mean? So
maybe she recognized that a lot going on.
Oh, I'm sure. So yeah, I mean, they told us, especially the band, the Henhouse Prowlers, were kind of guides to us through this process, just a little bit. Like they said, if you're cool with it, we'll put you up for it. And we said, yeah, of course, so that would be amazing. And then we didn't hear anything for months and months and months. And then we got our first email. And so when we got the first email, we shot them a text like, hey, we just got an offer. What happens next? And they said, oh, if you got an offer, everything's been done already. You've already been vetted. You've already been looked into. So you guys are, it's up to you if you want.
So you didn't know it that Miss McDonald was getting the
No, they're getting the phone call. I'm sure she didn't want to talk about it too much, relive those days.
So what date did you go to Germany?
Germany would be, I want to say, was it, I'd have to look. Let me take a look directly at the calendar. Let's see. It was June. It was just literally 2 weeks ago. It was June 23rd till July 2nd. And
you went to Berlin for 2 days and Hamburg for 8.
That's right. So we landed, we're overnight to Berlin, and had that experience of traveling, which traveling with instruments is always tricky, you know what I mean? And so, since we had a connector flight from Amsterdam to Germany, there was a little bit. Did
they get the stuff on the plane in time?
Normally, it's no problem. That was the only leg where we got nervous. They made us check in. They put it under the plane, and all of the stuff that you get really nervous about with your instruments. And so everything was fine. And then we just ended up in Berlin, and it was just, I mean, to say, I keep saying this to everybody, but it was the most overwhelming experience I've ever had. Berlin specifically. Hamburg was beautiful, and the people were incredible, and it was like, I guess it has more bridges and canals than Venice. It has the most in the world. So that was really the architecture, all the things. But Berlin has this palpable energy to it that is because of the history, because it's like the epicenter of some really tragic history. And so it was like, from the minute we touched down and met our guide, Marton, this incredibly sweet guy, it started. Like, I was already overwhelmed from the minute I got there. And after our day at the embassy, the whole day with, workshops and performances and stuff, I didn't sleep. Like, I didn't sleep.
So you went to the U.S. Embassy?
Yeah, the U.S. Embassy.
And who did you perform for?
We performed for this. It was this amazing thing. They invited all of these special guests that were either arts workers in the community, community workers, educators.
And were these Americans there, or these were Germans?
A mix. Yeah, it was a mix of people, because they had just had their 250th celebration 2 days before they had us, which was crazy. And they said they had 2,500 guests. So they were exhausted, but not showing it at all. They were just saying.
And what kind of gig did you play? How long did you play? What kind of bluegrass did you play? I know you didn't have your regular fiddler there. It's Austin, who we've had on. He's a pretty amazing guy.
Absolutely.
And he couldn't make it.
No, he was booked hard. Yeah,
So David Chernak filled in for him.
Yeah, David Chernak filled in for him, who's Dave's an incredible musician, and we were able to do what On the Trail can bring, which is, we can do the traditional stuff. We can hit it on the head, and then we can break off and do what we do, covers and more modern takes on things, So we were able to kind of give the whole spectrum of that while still staying honest to what our mission was there,
How long did you play for there?
An hour, an hour and
2,500 people.
Yeah, well, no, 2,500 was a couple days before. This was like a small party of 100 people in this.
And what kind of room was it? A stage? Or?
This was in this incredible courtyard. I mean, again, like the overwhelming sense of being in the embassy was that there's a chance you'll never see the inside of it again. And that's what I kind of just kept trying to take it in, and they were so. The word is nonchalant about it, but that's because it's like once you work someplace, you get used to it. But like we're walking past things, and they're like, "Oh yeah, these are some Jackson Pollocks, and here's a couple Andy Warhols, and if you guys know Liechtenstein, oh, here's some of his painting." And it was just like this overwhelming sense. So the courtyard they had us play in, the craziest part was really cool, beautiful. And at one point, somebody says, "Oh yeah, and if you look in the corner over there, there's a piece of steel. You'll notice that's from the Twin Towers."
Oh man!
And it's like, "Excuse me? Why is that here?" And they said, "Well, 8 families lost in Germany lost relatives, and so some of those families kept asking, could you do something like a place where we could come and have a memorial?" And they went above and beyond and literally got a piece of the Twin Towers put
in that performance, was there any particular song that strung out or connected with people?
Yes, absolutely. The two, the one that's always a big honor for us is the song that I wrote all the years ago, "What Do I Need With Love?"
Yeah, I remember that.
Always still resonates really heavily with people. But the other song that really seemed to resonate with people was a tune by the Punch Brothers that we've been performing since day one, called "My Oh My," which is this kind of, mix of high energy and also incredibly deep lyrics about all of like basically being kind of taken out of the world because you're consumed by these little devices in our pockets. So it's a really subtle way of delivering that message. But, after our performance, I'd had an awesome conversation with one of the guests at the party there about all the things going on and how I was feeling about Berlin, how overwhelmed I was by the city and the history and how they were so intentionally walking forward with it in a way that I'd never seen before, this brutal history, and they are just like moving through it and open about it, and everyone talks about it, and you can ask any question at all, and they want to talk about what's happened. He shot me an email after this performance and specifically mentioned those 2 songs and talked about how the weight of the world currently was really pulling him down, and that he almost didn't come to the performance because it was brutal hot too on top of it while we were there. It was the 2 days we performed in Hamburg, Saturday and Sunday, were the 2 hottest days in history of Germany. So like we were drenched in sweat, but so it was building up to that heat already, and we were really, really uncomfortably hot. So he came and he said, and it's the highest compliment I think you can get as a musician, is that our music reinstilled hope in him.
All right, and we're talking to Charlie Widmer, the State Troubadour, Connecticut State Troubadour, with his band On the Trail, Bluegrass and Newgrass Band. Just came back from 10 days in representing the State Department in Germany, Berlin 2 days, 8 days in Hamburg. So Charlie, what else how many other concerts did you play, and what kind of workshops, traditional music workshops did you do?
We did, I want to say, we did about 3 or 4 different workshops and specific engagements with youth, right? So we go to a school, or we would go to even having a jam session. We met this young band of like 13 to 15-year-old kids, and shared music with them.
Where was the setting there?
That was at the U.S. Consulate General's house in Hamburg. It was this amazing building that was owned by the U.S. government, and I've never seen bolts on a door like that in my life.
And they invited 13 or 15-year-old musicians. How did they how'd they find their way to the concert?
These were some they somehow were connected through one of the school programs, that they were artists, and that was the great thing about each department. Like again, the U.S. Embassy functions as the headquarters for then all of the separate consulates within Germany. And so what we heard afterwards was that once the trip was basically being approved and kind of going through all of the necessary steps, then the embassy lets everybody know, hey, we're going to have this group here. Who else would like to have some workshops or things and activities? And Hamburg fought heavily to have us because their consulate general, Scott, he had experience with bluegrass and specifically believed in its ability to bring people together. He specifically had interactions with the Henhouse Prowlers, who had recommended us, and I think that was, I can't remember what country he was in, and I won't try and to guess, but he had brought them over there, and he said to us, the unique power of bluegrass is that it carries so many different genres within it.
It's got gospel, it's got Appalachian country music. What else?
You have almost roots music from a lot of different cultures, right? Like without Irish music and all of these different kinds of traditions, the music doesn't come to life. You need that kind of fiddle and bounce, and that music tends to exist in that raw form in some way, shape, or form in other countries. Like, one of the coolest things that happened when we were in the courtyard playing in the embassy, this guy came up to us and he said, I used to, be one of the kind of the middle people, like the diplomats, and he said, and we were in Turkey. I was stationed in Turkey for a few years, and we brought out, you guys know this band, the Newgrass Revival? And we're like, oh my, yeah, of course, you know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, we had Sam Bush and all those guys there, John Cowan, and he said it was amazing to see how, especially Sam Bush, he had taken some of the ouds and different tunes from the Turkish music he was learning and had put it into a song, and the people they heard it just for like 3 seconds, started like looking around like, what was that? And then the whole band, because they're just freaks of nature, went into a full tune, and the place just lost their minds, he said.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
these 13 to 15-year-olds were at the Hamburg Constance house. And what did you do together?
We talked about some of the and this is what we did in a lot of the workshops. We talked about, what are the basic tradition points within bluegrass, whether that be fiddle tunes, when fiddle tunes are just like a way of saying, a tune without words, that you're playing the melody, trading the melody. We talked about how that, you first learn how to play the melody, and in old time traditions in music, you pretty much stuck with the melody, right? You just kind of did it on loop, and it would create this kind of almost like Irish music that you can imagine. This dancing happens and becomes almost like a trance, kind of really cool effect. And then how bluegrass started to evolve that tradition to add improvisation to it. And
was Bill Monroe in the beginning to bring improvisation camp?
Absolutely. Bill Monroe, the coolest part about Bill Monroe is that he intentionally invented this genre. So I don't know how many other genres of music have been intentionally invented, but Bill sat down and plotted this thing out.
And was the improvisation part of what he intended?
Yes. Yeah, and not only that, the specific instrumentation. He experimented with different forms, right? Having a dobro or different things until he said the perfect band. Like the bluegrass rule is it's all around one microphone, it's guitar, upright bass, banjo, mandolin, and fiddle. And that's like, you can add other instruments in, like a dobro or lap steel or different things like that. Yeah, no drums. No drums. We are the percussion as a band. So we were teaching them how does that work, where you don't notice that there's no drums in it, right? That there's no percussion, because each person in the band plays a specific role. That the bass is hitting all the big bass. Doom, 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 doom. And then the mandolin gets the chops, and the guitar will trade that too. Doom, 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 doom. And then you start to have the lead melodies traded between the mandolin and the fiddle usually. Mm-hmm. And the fiddle's that extra long lines because it needs something that you can carry, because by nature, bass, guitar, mandolin, and even banjo are instruments that die right after you pluck it, right? You hit it and it fades. Whereas the fiddle, you can grow and create flow and have lines. It mimics the voice. And then again, the voice being the last central part, that you have the 3-part harmony and how it's structured. Bill was intentional about everything he created. And
where's the improvisation come in between the verses?
Yeah, what you do is usually it has the same. I would imagine because he was a student of jazz as well. I would imagine he intentionally took that from jazz, which is we play. In jazz, they'll say we play the head, right, which is the melody. And once we've played the head, have at it. Right? And it's over the chords, it's whatever changes. And, great improvisers, usually all of them will, I would imagine, because I'm still trying myself to become a good improviser. The rule of thumb is you learn the melody cold, and then you kind of have the melody and start to embellish out of it. And people can get so good that they don't have to touch the melody at all, or then they can come reference it for a second, or add different ideas.
Is it important to be hearing the melody in your own head so you're playing it off it?
I think so. I think that, again, the musicians that I know at the highest level have this. I remember one, he's a great player here in Connecticut, a guy named Mike Gaudet, really one of the craziest guitarists I've ever seen in my life. And Mike and I talking about this when we were at WestCon, and him saying that anytime he listens to any solo of any type, he can see where all of those notes are on his instrument, and that he can, while he's playing a solo, see where he's going and every potential branch out that he could take. So it's, these people have worked and put so many hours in that it's like having a conversation, right? They know, all right, I'm saying this and I'm on my way to a point, But if I have another idea, I can go down that road for a little while. Oh, and then I can come back to that point.
So you're talking about this with these 13 to 15-year-olds at the Hamburg Consul's office.
Yeah.
And you said you had a jam session after that.
Yeah.
And they brought their instruments. And what was that like? Like, what were they playing? What were you playing?
It was so cool because we were sharing songs. So they were showing some of their original songs, which again, then I got to be Connecticut State Troubadour in that moment and be like, oh, you're songwriters. I'm a songwriter. I just got appointed with this title, and and talk about the process of songwriting. And so then they shared some original songs. We shared some original songs. We showed them some, maybe more traditional songs like I'll Fly Away or something like that, where it's really simple. Showed them the kind of how to, play this kind of feel. And then the consulate general had this great idea. He said, why don't we go on the balcony? They have this huge balcony. And we go outside and we're playing on the balcony. And it's right on this river in Hamburg. And all of a sudden, all these paddle boards and kayaks and stuff started forming outside. So we started putting on a concert for all the people that were around. And his neighbors even were coming on their balconies. Said, can we come up? And they were coming upstairs and coming into the room. And so then we were singing all of these songs, songs that they like people would actually recognize, like Sweet Caroline or, Take It Easy, or things that that we knew they would know. And one of the kids was a saxophone player. He was like half the size of his instrument. You know what I mean? He was 13 years old, and so he was playing this solo, and I said, no, come on, get to the edge. You got to play it to them. So it was this awesome moment where we were like playing over the balcony, and there's 15
and which song was that?
I gotta say, let me see. I think it was Jimi Hendrix tune. What was it? Little Wing.
Oh yeah,
he was playing a great
Little Wing sing interesting, and you played a bluegrassy.
Yeah, no, we played it just like straight. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, for sure.
All right, Charlie. So what other did you have a concert every day?
Yeah, every day had something, except we had one day off to kind of explore Hamburg, to rest a little bit. But
what did you do? What did you do on your day exploring?
Just went and enjoyed a lot of the sites that Hamburg has. Like one of the things that they had there that I'd never heard was they have it's the biggest attraction in Germany, is they have a miniature museum. Like it's like a miniature world that they've built, and it's like multiple floors, and it's to the point where because the consulate general was telling us, no, this is a big deal here in Germany. It's a big deal. They have 1.5 million visitors a year. They're open till 1 a.m. And they had 1.5 million visitors last year, and they turned away 1.7 million. That's how many people come to try and see it and to experience it.
Wow.
So we were lucky enough to get tickets to get in. Our guest that had joined us, Dave Chernak, is an avid birder. So he got up at 3 a.m. with one of Germany's best birders and went and saw 130 species of birds. And so for all of us, we were doing little different things. But
so what did you feel representing the United States? What did you feel your role was?
I was nervous when we were about to leave because I put a lot of pressure on myself with things like this. You know what I mean? I always feel like, I just want to do more than a good job. You know what I mean? I felt really nervous about this, and a good friend of mine, I was texting with him, and he asked me the question, of what do you hope to get out of this, And I said, I just want to show people that, America's full of kind people, who want to connect and want to, be a part of other people's worlds and share those worlds with them. And that's exactly what happened. That we, the level of connection that we shared with a lot of people and the friendships that we made were instantaneous and almost so honest and open.
Tell me about one of those times you made a connection.
Yeah, I mean, one of them was specifically with one of the workers at the embassy. Her story was, I mean, I don't think I've ever met anybody with such an interesting, intricate story. She had been working for the embassy for 34 years. So that, and again, Berlin's history feels ever present because of the wall. And there's pieces of the wall everywhere still. And, there's this trail of the wall. And so as we're going into the embassy, one of our guides said, oh, yeah, you're going to meet, one of our coworkers. And she's been with us for 34 years and everything, but she grew up in East Germany. And it was like, oh, she grew up on the communist side? And so to hear her stories, especially of when the wall came down, and
what happened?
She told us that, she said that, because I just had really candid conversations with her. I was so interested, and I just kept asking, like, she would just keep sharing and sharing. And so I said, well, what was that like when the wall came down 35 years ago, And she said, I had a normal childhood. relatively. My parents made me feel like a normal kid, and I did normal things. But the idea of America, the idea of West Germany, these places felt like another planet. They felt so far away. She thought I would never see them. I was never going to see these places, is what I thought. And so when the wall finally came down, she said she was pregnant with their first kid, and they were too scared to go over. They were just too scared to drive over, and what if they can't get back, and what if West Germany's scary, and what if, what are we going to expect? She said finally, after 3 days, her and her husband built up the courage, and they took the car, and they drove it. And as they drove over the wall, people were beating on the car and cheering and all of this stuff. And she said it was this moment of completion, that their world had come back together. And to be in the epicenter of that, representing the United States of America, representing Connecticut, with a guitar in my hands as a musician, it was, that night of it broke me. Yeah. I couldn't handle it. It was so overwhelming in like a positive way, of like the honor. And I couldn't sleep. I just processing all the things was like, this is not something I would have imagined for my life when I picked up a guitar at 12 years old and thought I'll try and learn a couple chords.
Charlie Widmer is the state troubadour in Connecticut, back from Germany with his band On the Trail, bluegrass band, representing not just Connecticut, but the U.S. You told me you have a new song that you've been working on based on being a state troubadour, which you've been since through April 2029.
Yeah.
And you started when?
We started in January.
This January.
Yeah, this January.
So you tell me about this song with Sammy Ray.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we had this crazy experience, because life is like that, right? You know what I mean? It keeps throwing curveballs. And so we were playing a gig in upstate New York in a town called Big Indian. And, the gig went wrong in every imaginable way. We were setting up all the speakers and everything to go, and I forgot a cable that without it would make everything not work. So there was a panic to scramble to get everything to work. Get that to work. Okay, good. We're fine. But that's after.
Where'd you find the cable?
Luckily the guys had something, a backup in the car, because they know it can happen, right? Always got to have plan B. And so after that panic attack, all right, let's get through this. We're good. We're playing music. We're doing the thing. And our mandolin player notices that I'd gone to put some bug spray on, and somehow the wind carried it back and destroyed the finish on his brand new mandolin. Completely ate away at it. He's trying to process it, stay calm and everything, and he does. Everybody's good. And by the end of it, we're just really tired, feeling burnt out from the whole experience. And so I'm just thinking to myself as we're driving back, me and our mandolin player Tom, I'm thinking, I don't know, man. Sometimes when you get kicked up a hill like this, usually it means something's coming. Usually. And so we stop at a random gas station because we weren't able to eat at this event, and we walk in and they have this song playing in the background, that tune Firefly from where 10 million fireflies. They have this music playing in the background, and I'm just singing along to it because I can't help myself, And I see this girl kind of like lift her head and, see us talking and stuff. And I'm like, oh, come on, Charlie. Like, calm down. Don't be making music all the time. And as we're walking towards her, our man, Tom looks at her and goes, "You're Sammy Ray, aren't you?" And she like blushes and is like, "Yeah." And I'm like, wait, Sammy Ray. I'm like trying to put two and two together because I'm never fast enough with those moments. And so it turns out, if you don't know who Sammy Ray is, give her a Google, look her up on Instagram. She's a big star. She's a big up and coming star. But the crazier part of it is that her and I are both from the Valley.
So where were you at this gas station?
This was in the middle of upstate New York, middle of nowhere. I couldn't even tell you what town.
And what was she doing there?
She had just moved up to that part of the town.
Oh, she lives there.
And she was also doing the same thing as us, that everything closes at like 10 p.m. and she keeps forgetting that. So she literally said, "I was just in here to try and find some food." We're like, "That's what we're doing here." So she and Tom are talking, and Tom said, "Oh, I brought my, fiance at the time. One of our first dates ever was to your concert, and she's played at places like College Street, and she's a big act, And so they're chatting, and then she looks at me and she goes, "But I think I know you." And I'm like, "Yeah, we kind of know each other. We almost met when we were in high school, because she was 1 year younger than me, and I was doing musicals and stuff with the same people she was doing musicals with." And so this was in Oxford and she was in Derby. And so I kept always hearing her name. "Oh, Sammy Ray, Sammy. Oh, you're going to meet Sammy. She's super cool. And then she went and blew up. And so I'm like, oh, it's never going to happen. I'm not going to, that's just life. So we're both kind of having this like overwhelmed feeling as we're looking at each other like, how did we, two people from the Valley? And then I got to tell her, well, yeah, I just recently got appointed as the Connecticut State Troubadour. And she's like, from the Valley? Because again, the history for us, people of the Valley especially, the Valley has always been like the ugly cousin. Not by choice. That's just us as the Valley. We know that that's how other people will think about the Valley. They put down the Valley. They put down where we're from often. And so when I got the title, that was already the honor on top of everything. I get to represent Connecticut, but I don't get to just represent Connecticut. I get to represent it from the Valley. So then she was like, you're still in the Valley? You're still in Oxford? You're still there? And that inspired this song that I'm going to sing for you now, So
all right.
This... let's see if I can't get myself cozy here. This song came out of that because, it was this idea of what is a home? What is a home? What is Connecticut? What do people think of when they think of Connecticut? And what does Connecticut mean to someone like me?
And what is the song called?
This song is tentatively titled Little Place. That idea of,
So it's still in it's still in version.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Let's see. All the shorelines make the golden coast, and riches far beyond from most. You'd think we all just get around on yachts, but the inland and surrounding spots are hard to live in, 'cause the costs are driven higher daily like a plot. Oh, there are secrets I can't tell. Life ain't so easy when you work like hell. I'm just a Connecticut kid, dreaming so big one day that I'll make a hit and ride out on it, far from this little place. But I can't leave this little place. I'm still the Connecticut kid, dreaming so big one day that I'll ride a hit and ride out on it. I love this little place, and I'll make home this little place. Let me take you to the Valley, to the place I call my home, where the rivers cut the mountains and the streams are known to grow. All the trees stand all around you, almost blocking out the light. Fireflies dance in the moonlight, becoming stars before your eyes. But there are secrets I can't tell. Life ain't so easy when you work like hell. I'm just a Connecticut kid, dreaming so big one day that I'll make a hit and ride out on it, far from this little place. But I can't leave this little place. I'm still the Connecticut kid, dreaming so big one day that I'll make it red and ride out on it. I love this little place. Can I make home this little place? Yeah. When does a place become your own? How do we take what we have known? Oh, sorry. Let's see. Let me try and jump back in there. Let's see.
All right.
Let's see. 1, 2. When does a place become your own? How do we take what we have known? Is this a gift or am I cursed? Simply just waiting on. What am I waiting on? On and on and on and on and on. If I'm just a Connecticut kid, dreaming so big one day that I'll ride ahead and ride out on it, far from this little place. But I can't leave this little place. I'm still the Connecticut kid, dreaming so big one day that I'll ride ahead and ride out on it. But I love this little place. Can I make home this little place?
In progress, a new song from Connecticut State Troubadour Charlie Widmer, fresh back from Germany with a song about the Valley. Would you say it's about remembering who you are and where you came from and also dreaming big?
I think so. I think
tell me your words.
It's a mix, I mean, for me, this song specifically, excuse me, anyone that knows me well knows I get very, very warm when I perform music. But, part of it is that feeling of wanting to go to other places, wanderlust, see the world, see what's out there, see what the world has to offer, and realizing that, maybe where you're at and what that place has to offer is enough, and that feeling of how do you reconcile those things? Because I think when you're young, especially, right, you think to yourself, there's got to be more out there than I know, or you start to fantasize about these things. And that's what I had when I was 18. I wanted to be a superstar or whatever these naive things were in my head, right? These superficial things. And then, you realize that maybe what's in front of you is enough, but it's that kind of tug of war, right? Tug of war.
Are you still in it? I mean, you just did go to Germany. You are still aiming high, right?
Yeah, I mean, but as the more I travel, the first thing that I get every single time I travel is I can't wait to be back. Because I think that Connecticut, and I'm not just saying this even just because I represent Connecticut in some way. I think Connecticut has a unique thing in that, for one of the things I love the most, you can get in your car and you can drive 20 minutes in any direction at most and have one of the most incredible meals you're ever going to have. And many different cost brackets, right? So Connecticut has this melting pot of cultures, and while things are centralized, we also have enough space depending on where you want to live and what kind of lifestyle you want to have. So much more so than even places like Maine or Vermont or New Hampshire, because they all have really beautiful areas, but sometimes they're really remote. Sometimes they're in the middle of nowhere. And so that's the thing that I really love about Connecticut that I didn't understand or appreciate when I was 10.
And you're still in Oxford.
Still in Oxford. That's it.
Tell me about that.
Oxford's a place that built me. I mean, I came to the United States with my mom and my brother when I was 5, and we started in Danbury, Connecticut. Very different experience, And we were there until I was 11. And when we moved to Oxford, I felt like, man, I'm in the middle of nowhere. Like, it felt that kind of feeling from Danbury to that. Felt like I live in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing here. There's, other than houses and a couple schools and, but then I started meeting people I never would have met, like people that really understood things that I didn't really know existed, like how the woods work, fishing, nature, and had different philosophies about life. Because the one thing that really is true about the Valley is everyone from the Valley has a chip on their shoulder. We all have this feeling of like, I have what I have because I earned it and I worked really hard to get here, and because it's a blue collar mentality, really that idea of like, I go to work every day, I break my body for this. So I've earned the right to enjoy my land. I've earned the right to enjoy my property. So that attitude really shaped who I am and made me think, all right, nothing in life comes easy. Nothing in life is free. Everything that comes in life comes from hard work. And once you have it, you can be proud of it in a certain way that isn't feeding the ego. And
is that reflected in the song?
I think, this song specifically here as it's developing, and I keep trying to find where its home is going to be. Because, when you write a piece of music, you don't know, am I going to cut this? Is this going to be something that, but this is the type of thing that I want to capture, is that Connecticut is more than what we call the Golden Coast. Mm-hmm. It's more than New York transplants, or even, I wouldn't even say it as that, but, it's more than just that experience of affluence. That Connecticut is a much broader thing than that. There are people that,
Has Sammy Ray heard this yet?
No, not yet. I should send it to her. I will after
this. But she inspired it.
Yeah, she did. She did because of that conversation. Because, we traded contact information and we texted about it. And she looked into my title and my position. And the first thing that she texted me back was like, and you're doing it for the Valley. You're doing it for the Valley. Because we're really proud of the Valley. and we never liked that we were the ones put down. We didn't like that. Being from the Valley, we were proud to be from where we're from, and I still feel that way. I'm very proud to be from the Valley because we have a unique experience as Connecticut folk.
All right, so Charlie Widmer, what's coming up? You got 3 gigs this weekend with On the Trail, your bluegrass band, 3 gigs the weekend after.
Yep.
And then what else? What's going on with the Troubadour?
Yeah, well, so, all of the things as far as we got too many shows to count, which is a beautiful thing, getting to share music and connect with people. And the last one, so, this weekend 3 gigs, next weekend 3 gigs. Then we're up at Ossipee Valley running the Kids Academy that they have at the Ossipee Valley Music Festival. And on top of it, meeting, because I'm going to make sure that happens, the Punch Brothers, because they're headlining the festival. So we have been talking about this for months. I can't wait to finally thank them for everything in our lives. And otherwise, as far as all the Troubadour stuff, I have myself a solo gig. That's next weekend at Jones Winery, so getting to share my own stuff. And August is when I start to do even more work under my name. There's a few gigs that are just Charlie gigs, and then one where I'm playing the Hike to the Mic Festival that Sunday. I'm one of the featured acts, and it's the first time it's going to be my name and my band. It's going to be literally drums and bass and guitar and me.
And you're working on a solo album for later this year, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
The solo album has been recorded for a couple years now, and it's the project that I cut out in Switzerland. I recorded it with, the big rock star Baji's, his big producer over there when I was in Switzerland. And so, Phil and I worked on this record for a while. And, one of the interesting things, and I'm not sure if this speaks to anybody else that's out there, the timing with the Troubadour thing came at a moment where I really was debating going another direction with my life because I had reached a point of complete burnout. It was tail end of 2024. I had all this momentum. We'd even seen each other around then, stuff happening in Switzerland and everything. And I had this record I'd cut, and then everything fell apart. All the connections, they just stopped working. The doors no longer were opening. Things weren't happening. It was kind of like, well, that's it. But for me...
What would you have done?
That's a good question. I was starting to lean into, real estate. You know what I mean? It was literally like, find another direction for my life where I can still connect with people and feel like the work is meaningful and at the same time make a living that, is good for my family. So I started to really daydream about some sort of sales or something where I could still use a personality and stuff. And so 2024, I was really completely drained. And right at the end, all my friends and family knew it. And I said to my wife, I said, look, I'm going to take it a few months at a time. Let's just, let's start the new year, 2025, and let's see what happens. And so, for On the Trail, things were getting more and more exciting. 2025 is when everything took off, when the song got signed and when we got number 3 on Sirius XM. Then I got nominated for the Troubadour thing. So even as all of these things are happening, because even, when I got nominated for Troubadour, it didn't mean I was going to get it. So it was like, I kept saying, let's just see how that plays out, and then we'll go from there. And so I remember saying, let me just make it to September. And if things are still rocking and rolling by September of 2025, I'll just keep going with the flow. And here we are now with all the things that have happened.
And there you go, State Troubadour, back from Germany. Got a new song you do about the Valley. You got a concert and a lot of summer gigs coming up. So I hope it's a good summer.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm glad you stuck with it.
Yeah, man, thank you.
Charlie Widmer, State Troubadour here on WNHH. And thanks to Harry Jones behind the control. We're not going to take it out with our usual song. I'm going to play a song Charlie recorded. Radio edit. When he was last time he was here, Open Yourself, one of his songs, Charlie Widmer. And then you listen to WNHH FM, New Haven's home for community radio.
Okay. All right now. Yes. Yeah, baby. Go a little something like this. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I've been living about the best that I can do. And what's more is we're all living just to get by like me and you. Yeah.
it'll hold you, get control and let you do. But if we keep on trying, there ain't nothing we can't go through. My promise was to hold you and take care of you the most. But if you keep them walls up, baby, I can't get that close. Oh, be yourself,